Could he table evidence to demonstrate that the administration is actually a regime? What we have is the popularly...
Order, Senator. Senator Boni.
Yes.
Kindly take your seat. Senator Onyonka, proceed to conclude your comments.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I would want to... Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I think Boni must have had a very bad lunch today. And he says he did better than Honorable Speaker. Boni says he did better than Honorable Sifuna. I doubt.
What is the point about...
With those few remarks, thank you, sir.
Point of order, Mr. Speaker.
Just take your seat. The Honorable
No,
member
the Speaker has not. You are not the Speaker. Stop shouting.
Senator Cherargei.
Relax.
Senator Sifuna.
Yes.
Senator Sifuna, please.
Yes.
There is only one chair, and that chair is me. Senator Cherargei, proceed to make your comments on the petition.
Mr. Speaker, under the meaning of, as I make my comment, under the meaning of the dictionary, regime means an authoritarian regime, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, however much you shout, this is not a marketplace. You must listen to what I'm saying.
Order, members. Senator Cherargei, I gave you the floor.
I'm proceeding, Mr. Speaker.
To comment on the petition.
I'm commenting.
Proceed.
Mr. Speaker, the government we have in place is God chosen, and it is a government that is not a regime. Regime is a wrong denotation of what the regime means. It is authoritarian. Mr. Speaker, what I wanted to say on the aspect
order, members. Order.
On the aspect
Senators, kindly allow the senator to make his comments on the petition as presented by the chair.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for that protection. Mr. Speaker, what I want to say is that I agree that the issue of land is an emotive issue. And my law lecturer, Professor Tom Ojenda, will tell you in the book of conveyancing that land is an emotive issue, Mr. Speaker, because Professor Tom Ojenda, who taught me land law and conveyancing, wrote extensively about conveyancing matters in this country. Mr. Speaker, and he begins that land is an emotive issue. Every African, Mr. Speaker, especially from where I come from, if you do not have land, you are nobody. You are not a man. Apart from other qualifications, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I want to encourage communities to use alternative dispute resolutions. And we have established a mediation center in this republic, Mr. Speaker, especially on land matters. I'm happy, Mr. Speaker, when you look at Kimasa's quarters, in Kapsabet law courts, they have won a case against Africa Produce of 350 acres. They choose to use a judicial process, Mr. Speaker. One of the commitments of President William Ruto's government has been to ensure that no Kenyan should be evicted unlawfully. More so what we call infrastructural evictees, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I want to urge these communities. The church is part of the community is the church, Mr. Speaker, and therefore these prayers that has been put in place, Mr. Speaker, is very important. And the issue of land, Mr. Speaker, we need to be careful because there is a dangerous disease, Mr. Speaker, that continues to be a cancerous in this country. It is a disease called grabiosis. When you go, most of the road reserves have been grabbed, Mr. Speaker. Even when you drive all over, the people have built even next to the road reserve, Mr. Speaker. And yet when there is compulsory acquisition being done, Mr. Speaker, at the end of the day, the government ends up paying for its own land, which is public, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I want to urge the committee led by my young brother and the last born of the Senate, Senator Medhu, Mr. Speaker, to ensure they look into the issue of public land, Mr. Speaker. And we must even, Mr. Speaker, look at some of the people who have grabbed public facilities, including Kisumu molasses plant, Mr. Speaker, the other areas that we have one around, Mr. Speaker, in Kisumu, next to the airport, Mr. Speaker, areas that we are having here in Nairobi, Mr. Speaker, even the Senate and even the Parliament, Mr. Speaker, we must look at the title. And I want to urge, Mr. Speaker, that even the primary schools in this school, we had the famous Ruaraka Run scandal, Mr. Speaker. Allegedly, the former minister was mentioned widely, Mr. Speaker. We need these people to be arrested so that we don't see the issue of land historical injustices, Mr. Speaker. We want them to be arrested, Mr. Speaker, so that we can ensure we protect the sanctity of title deed, Mr. Speaker. Because we don't want to reduce title deed into a tissue paper in this republic, where you are given a title, before you know it, there are many people who have title, Mr. Speaker. And that will be, I know, Mr. Speaker, where you come from, and you have been the